Earlier this week, I had a chance to sit down with internet pioneer John Perry Barlow to discuss the state of the internet. Now, in case you're not familiar with John Perry, he's the co-founder of the Electronic Frontier Foundation and a former lyricist for the Grateful Dead. Very interesting, calls himself a cognitive dissident, and this is what he had to say. And I'm speaking today with John Perry Barlow, co-founder of the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Welcome to the web. Tell us a little bit about the EFF, standing for Freedom of Expression in Digital Media, right?
Yeah, and a whole range of social and legal issues that arise around that. I mean, it turns out that if you're talking about expression in an environment where everything consists of speech, you're talking about all of the civil liberties. Right. You're talking about freedom to be left alone, privacy, freedom of commerce.
What is then the purpose now of the foundation? What is it you're setting out to do?
Well, originally, what we were all we were doing was trying to preserve the First Amendment in the digital environment, and we hadn't been at it very long before we realized that the First Amendment was a local ordinance,
right?
And that we were dealing with a global environment and the local interactions with that global environment in all of their various different cultural manifestations. So a lot of what we've been doing is been trying to inspire other people in other places around the planet to initiate work such as we've done here in the United States. We're also very involved in trying to make certain that the architecture of the internet stays open, just on a technical level, because this is an area where architecture is politics. If the technical architecture is open, it's very difficult for the political architecture to close.
How do you think the anti-terrorism bill is going to affect the internet?
Well, I'm very concerned. I mean, half of it is passed. I mean, the Senate passed their half. And there are elements of this bill that I think are really very dangerous. I mean, regulating content on the internet with regard to bomb-making equipment, which is ridiculous. I mean, you can't... I mean, I was a cattle rancher for a long time, and I had to use explosives in my work. The way I found out how to make explosives was from the United States Forest Service. They gave me a little book called The Blaster's Guide years ago. Yeah. I'm sure it's still available. And the fact that that you have to go down and get it off a rack at the Forest Service is no different to me from getting it off the internet.
Who takes the responsibility though for having a medium where this information is readily available to the unfortunate few in our society who take that information and then use it as destructively as they do in situations like the Olympics? You know,
here's the important thing to focus on. It's not the information, it's the use. You know, the crime is not the knowledge. The crime is using that knowledge in a criminal way.
So we go from, something like the anti-terrorism bill to the Exxon bill, where we're talking about privacy issues on the net. And
well, but you're also talking about exploitation, presumably, of sexual exploitation of kids or whatever. And again, if something is child pornography, or if it's obscene, or if it's sexually exploitive in a way that is generally offensive to most of a community, the actual act itself that is being depicted is illegal.
Right.
So there's no point in making the depiction illegal. If we're going to go out and start making depictions of crimes illegal,
we'll have more
I don't know where we stop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the image has no legal force, or shouldn't.
Do you think it's just their way of having a bit of a say in what's going on in this area of technology that at the moment is given so much attention?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they feel themselves to be losing force. I mean, they feel themselves to be confronting a medium that will really make it possible for anybody, anywhere, to say what they think. And I don't care how free you think you are. There isn't a government on the planet that isn't made very uncomfortable by that.
It's pretty heavy stuff, and whether or not you agree with everything John Perry Barlow has to say, you have to admit that he does pose some very interesting questions and opinions about what's going on the net. If you want to find out more about him, head on over to cnet.com and look for his profile in our Movers and Shakers section, or you can go to www.eff.org for more information on your rights on the internet.
And coming up, Ronnie Lott from Fox TV's Football will be here to talk about his charity's website. And he's another interesting guy, so you won't want to miss that. Stay tuned.